and I'm a seer, a psychic, and I have a powerful team working with me to help guide many people through to the new earth and so forth. I'm so excited. I just had to come online because so many things have been happening. I just got off a talk to a couple of USA friends, and we were talking about creating a city that was crystalline, gridded, and it was so strong in my mind. I started channeling some information about it while I was talking to them. We didn't record the actual talk, but I started to understand a bit more about what we were going to be doing and how we were going to get there. And then we got off that talk, and I ended up just clicking the first post that was on my Facebook. Ended up being, it was actually called, I haven't got my glasses, but it's called The Quest for this Crystal City Roundtable Tertarian Talkback. And it was a bunch of Australians and also USA people who did a Zoom and was starting to talk about how to explore and move into this new crystalline city that was in the middle of Australia. The synchronicities were so on par. I just finished creating my YouTube of what I was shown when I was taken to the new earth. This is many years ago. I actually went into a dream that felt so real that I couldn't stop with the feeling that came with it. And the feeling was a completely still mind. And in that future earth, I knew it was a projected future earth, potential for humanity. I was living high up on a mountain, and we could teleport, we could materialize things, but we could also work as we do now. Physically, we could create, if we wanted to, lines of energy could come out of our hands, and we could create cities and walls through our imagination, solidifying. But also there was a book that I created about for children about a crystalline city that had massive crystals that held certain vibrations. You couldn't walk into the city unless you were lined up with that certain vibration of a clear mind, completely living in the moment. So all of the stuff that I've been given, and I channeled that book through. It was called Jonah and Kitty, The Timekeeper's Void. It's actually for sale on my website. I channeled all this information through years ago, and now people are waking up, and people are actually searching for the same thing that I was shown all those years ago. So I'm so excited to share this with you guys, and I just wanted to come online and tell you that to line up with this is to start to let go of the old story and the old programs and the old fear-based scenarios and everything that's on the news and the media. Everything that they have been doing is getting your imagination fixed on the reality that they want to create. But the reality that we can create is just far beyond what their scope could even handle. And they don't hold any power over us then. They don't hold any sort of control at all, because we're stepped into these new frequencies that line us up with more and more people that are in the same reality scope, the same feeling and vibration of seeking these places that already exist in higher frequencies on Gaia and in Australia as well. So Australia has been squeezed very fast, pushed very hard, because that's where they landed. They decided to keep their base there because they knew that Australia was the imagining for the world. And we have been squeezed so much that we end up just going, that's it. I don't want to live this reality anymore. I'm going to start focusing and thinking outside the box. I'm going to start opening my mind up to new scenarios. And what happens then is you start aligning your reality with others that are on the same wavelength. And this is how the synchronicities just start coming in. It gets so exciting when it happens, but we've got to also remember to come back to the living in the moment and see it, solidify it as a real experience as well. So they were talking about crystals within our brain. I had already been told all about that, and the somatics patterns that happens within the pineal gland when you have frequencies that you chant. And they keep on showing me people chanting. Like if you ever go to a petition to a one of those things where everybody gathers to petition certain things, if you're say at the botanical gardens or something like that, if you are there, I would personally just get a small group of people and sit down and just start omming, just start chanting, just start omming, because what it will do is raise the frequency into we are in the love frequency. We aren't in the fear frequency anymore, and we're raising it for other people to start thinking outside the box because somebody sat down and started omming and now they feel better. So that's another really cool thing to do. That's one thing that they showed me. They also showed me, they've also helped me create some products that will help you guys as well. So they're going to be for sale on my website as well. I'm going to have an advert going through YouTube. And these all to awaken the right brain, to get us thinking outside the box, to start working our intuition and our imagination, because that's what's been hindered by the old program. And that's what's aligning, will have the frequencies to align us with these new scenarios that we can walk into. So this bunch of people that I was just lined up with, they're actually going to physically go walking into the desert, and they're going to seek this beautiful place, but they know that they have to be in a higher frequency to be able to see it and to be able to connect with it. I'm just so excited that this is happening, that people are actually starting to wake up and they're starting to step into their authentic power. They're starting to realize who they are, remember who they are. Because I've remembered who I was for a long time, but been wearing a pretend hat just to be able to fit in with everybody. But now I've taken that pretend hat off. This is just who I am. I know I've been shown, I've experienced a lot more, and I can connect and channel through information to help guide you guys. So yeah, I'm just going to see if they've got anything that they want to share with you while I'm here. Okay, so they're telling me that there are certain cities that are already present, but there's also certain cities that are going to be created specifically by people who are aligning with the energies. So in other words, they physically will start creating these things eventually as well. It's like when you physically create them, you're lining the lower frequency up with the higher frequency. It's shifting more people. It becomes tangible in your world. It's like the story can be created in any which way. You could walk through a porthole and end up in a beautiful scenario, but some people won't be able to handle that. Their minds won't be able to handle it, so they'll never be able to walk through that porthole and walk into a certain scenario. Those people will probably physically start creating, like find crystals that are in certain areas and put these crystals in a specific grid line place and get all of the information and the wisdom and the knowledge on how to actually bring this into Earth as well. So there's all these different timelines and scenarios that can happen with people depending on who they are and what gift they're supposed to bring into these new worlds as well. So there's definitely going to be a band of people that are going to be walking on Australia, and there's going to be a band walking in USA as well. South USA is going to be a prominent one. This is the kickstart to a whole new earth. We lift our vibration way out of the scope of what the fear-based game, because we start falling into our gifts. With the clear minds that we have, the gifts start happening, the telepathy starts happening, the synchronicities will start first, the signs. The telepathy will come on board. You'll start to be able to channel, just like I can, information of what to do, where to go. Your left logical brain is still needed, because otherwise you'll fly off into the ether and you won't be physical in a physical sort of a scenario. So it's not like we're ignoring our logical side of ourselves. That's absolutely needed. So yeah, they keep saying to me a tiny band will start, and then it'll go out into the deserts, and through their own clear minds, the work that they've done, the shadow work that they've done from within, they're going to start finding these spaces, and then they're like gatekeepers who help other people through to that scenario as well. And those crystalline cities, and that they are called crystalline cities because the frequency is so high that it almost sparkles. The colors are so bright. I've been there once before where all the colors were so bright, so just so like intense, that when I walked out, I could literally feel, hear, telepathically communicate with mountains, with grass, with the trees, and everything had its own sort of, everything was more than what we feel in this third dimensional aspect of ourselves. So for instance, a tree that might just be a tree could also be aligned with a porthole that resonates with a whole other world of beings, or it could resonate with being able to take you from the third dimension into these other frequencies. There was so much more than what our logical brain has been programmed to believe. Mountains were so much more. They were virtually alive and had their own essence within themselves. So this is all the new earth frequencies. There was the crystal cities were created through light. That's why they're called crystal cities. It's also that the crystals that are here on earth at the moment that we find, that we dig up, they are like the third dimensional solidified object left from what our brain can compute when we're in a lower frequency. But when we're in a higher frequency, they are so much more. They are beings within themselves, and they can link with each other like a root system, a grid line that goes from one crystal to another. That when we sync up with our pineal gland, because we have tiny little crystals within our pineal gland that's floating around if it's not been saturated with fluoride and crap like that. Once we're really stepping into these new higher frequencies, it's cleared enough to be flowing. With vibrational sound work, we can line those crystals up with knowing how to place the crystals that want to talk to us on earth, and that will also connect. They will connect like a grid, and then that creates a kind of like a hub or a bubble of energy in, say, a desert or wherever you're placing them, into being able to slip in and out of different frequencies. But you only experience it when you have that clear mind. You can't come from a warring mind. You can't come from a doubting, confused confuse logic with intuition, fighting against each other mind, you'll never be able to experience the beauty and the reality that is within those frequencies, even if you did put the crystals in a certain grid pattern. So this is the reason why we're going through all the shadow work. This is the reason why we're going through, the energies are pelting us at the moment from the sun and through the porthole of the sun in the central galaxy, so that Earth herself and humanity themselves can rid ourselves of the old program, but to rid ourselves of the old identity of who we thought we were, and step into the magnificence and the power of who we actually are, and align ourselves with that, meant that we have to face off with realities and stories that come our way that made us feel into those horrible feelings of where we gave our power away and how we disowned ourselves, and how the sabotaging talk that we did to ourselves, we have to now own it. And then we say to ourselves, well, I'm not going to talk to myself like that. I am going to step into the magnificence of who I am. I'm going to shine. I'm going to be the person that I want the world to be, because we're all looking outside wanting this world to change, but it will not change unless you start to change. And then when the shadow work is over, there's like a space within your mind, and then you can start focusing that space, connecting it to what you really love to do, the passions and desires. Say you want to work with crystals, say you want to work with Mother Earth herself, you want to start talking to benevolent beings, you want to start just creating physical things to help other people raise their vibration. You want to be a talk show host, you want to create an empire that connects Earth, Gaia to humanity, all sorts of different things that you're going to start feeling these new passions and excitements that in the old frequencies would be shunned on, would be made you to feel small about who you are. But you are much bigger than that. You are like a magnificent being, and your soul already knows what's going to make you the happiest, because the passion and the excitement starts coming up. And so all that clear space that you had from doing the shadow work is now going to be directed into what you want to create. And when you start creating that and start driving yourself towards that, ignoring all of the old programs and all of the old stories that they're trying to bombard us with, advertisements and stuff, you start aligning yourself with more and more people and more people that are in the same energy. And there's a lot more of us waking up now. So you won't be alone in that place. And then you will feel a pull direct to either go to certain locations, to live in certain spaces, because it makes you feel good. And where you are now, it feels very tight, controlled, limited. So I'm really excited because I've seen cracks in the matrix of people waking up and starting to synchronize themselves and come into line with these new frequencies of Earth. So I'm so excited about all of this. It is happening. There's not just me, there's many, many others. It is happening. And so hang in there. If you're still doing the shadow work, it's all for purpose. We've just gone through a massive shift this last weekend. You might have felt some real huge disruptions in your matrix, because it's almost like the ones that are chosen to move into these new frequencies first have been pushed. And when they're pushed, they're lined up with anything that they haven't got rid of within their own self-doubt and depowering of themselves. So it's probably come straight at you this last couple of weekends, and you've just gone, what the heck is going on? But once you realize you can become the observer of that and see it from an observer point of view, that you are the creator of your reality, that you need to now look at yourself honestly and see where that clearing needed to be. How did you respond? How did you react? Did you get anxious? Did you get annoyed? Did you get frustrated? When those things come to you, are you allowing yourself to be that? Are you accepting that that is part of who you are, that you have fire within yourself, that you're allowed to speak up when you need to speak up? It's all an acceptance rather than saying to yourself, I'm not going to be that. It's more to do with I accept who I am in every response that I have, but coming from the heart, not the mind. So when we come from the heart, we're expressing our truth. So we could stand up in front of someone that's put us down and say very directly, no, you do not do that. That's not a negative thing. It's coming from your heart and it's expressing the truth of who you are. If you're coming from your mind, it would be like, they're putting me down. I'm no good. Why are they doing that? I wish they wouldn't do that. Projecting it outside yourself. And that means you need to clear. You need to clear that stuff. So this is how we're aligning ourselves with the new earth. Sorry if I'm talking fast. They're giving me all this information. So I'm just like pouring it out at you guys while I'm talking. Hey, Caroline. Hey, Electra. So good to see you. Hey, Paul. This is just so exciting to see that these band of people are actually looking at walking into the deserts and finding from their own inner self, aligning themselves with these new crystalline cities that are already present on Earth, but we're starting to up our frequency to actually align. Telepathy is definitely going to be one thing that's going to come on board quickly, because the channeling messages that the benevolent beings want to give us, to share where all of these beautiful places have been to explore, and how to shift your reality out of the old programs. Also, there'll be the odd person that they will take and show things to, but mainly they want to have you on Earth clearing your stuff, because we're going through the fire, and that's what the whole point of this is. We're clearing our own stuff through the fire. You'll either be burnt and you'll go into the old program and be burnt. I've seen it in dreams where lights exploded out of government buildings because they couldn't handle the new frequencies, and they burnt all these people, which were also in the same frequency, because they couldn't handle it either. And I'm walking over all these bodies that have been burnt. But what we have to do is come at it from an observational point, that those that are passing away have chosen that they will align themselves with a new frequency that will gift them a reality of lower vibration, but it's giving them an opportunity still to be able to get out of that, because in the end we're all one. We all end up in the same space of love. That's what oneness is, a love of ourselves, complete acceptance of who we are in the story that we're creating. So yeah, well, they just keep channeling all this stuff through my mind at the moment. I'm really, really excited anyway about this whole new venture. I just see if they've got anything else they want to say. Yeah, they also said if anyone wants any questions to ask me, because they want to be able to connect with you guys more. So if you start asking specific questions, the answers might come through me first, but then eventually it will come straight to you. You'll start to feel the same vibration that I'm giving you will come through you, and you'll start to recognize the feeling from me giving it to you to them giving it to you, the information. So if you want to ask any questions, go for that as well. Wow. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there, because let's see if there's anything else. They're showing me a river flowing through it's a river of energy that's flowing through Earth at the moment, and it's really it's getting very exciting, because it's like a small wave going around a corner to something completely new, and we're riding it beautifully. But the ones that haven't done the shadow work, who are still looking outside themselves for someone to lead them, they will tumble out of that last wave. They won't be able to ride with it, and so they won't be able to land on these new frequencies where all the magic's going to start coming up. And synchronicities is a big thing. So if you're starting to get synchronicities within your reality at the moment, those synchronicities are a big sign that you're doing the right thing, that you're lining yourself up with the right thing. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it there. I'll come back online when I get a poll. I was just so excited to share with you guys all of that information. So go back to the start. There's more information if you came in halfway. Love you guys heaps. Bye.